My name is Sophie, and I'll be showing you just a little bit of how I'm using Perlego in my everyday life. I'm a student as well as currently working in a startup, and definitely a person who loves to grow and develop myself. And I'm very happy about the access of resources I have through Perlego. So, homepage, great. I normally, come back to my activity, reading what I'm currently reading and working on. My most recent books and topics are normally here. But I also sort my books into different workspaces. So for me, I did consulting for a bit and had my own workspace for that. I'm really passionate about women in leadership. I have a workspace for that and put in books there. It's a little bit like the bookshelf that you can keep putting adding books into, but you're not always going to be able to read all of them. But at least with Perlego, I don't have to buy all of them and have them on my bookshelf. But I am very happy to have them here. I also have some personal ones. I don't really put them in my workspace, and when I say personal, I do mean things like the creative act, for example. Um, and then I also put them under one to read, but I really moved away from one to read and really just stay in my workspaces because I use that as a one to read overview and workspace really to come back to if I need to. The reading, yes, it's at 41 purely because I go in and I take a little bit from this book, a little bit from that book, which I find to be a really beautiful way of creating accessibility of information. Because normally, back in the day, you have to go to a library to have available this amount of information, but you don't have to anymore. And you really just need, with the AI researcher, you can go into multiple books quite easily. And I normally stay in the AI researcher and not the title search, um, unless there's a specific book I'm looking for, because that way I get a good overview of the complete area that I want to learn about. So, for example, right now, um, we're looking at demand demand forecasting in supply chains, and it's really easy to key books, find that key excerpts, which helps a lot because then I can really figure out where do I want to dive deep, where do I want to kind of stay on the surface. And it's also good to understand which chapters are relevant and which are not. So I really like that tool. I'm very happy that they launched it this year. That was something I was definitely looking for. Now, if I do get a bit bored, I do like going into these different categories. I don't do it quite often just because I know what I'm looking for, but I do find it very helpful. And in the beginning, I did go into it. Now, for example, I am looking to learn more about, say, design. I did do a minor in design, but when I did start my minor in design, I went in here and under the subject and really got a overview of, kind of the most popular books as well as what's available for me to learn about, which was very helpful to when you don't know where to start within a subject. So really enjoy that. And then the notebook, also one of my favorite spaces to be working in. I can really I love highlighting when I'm reading. I love adding notes and thoughts. So here, for example, you can see I've highlighted this and all create and added a note of like all creation changes the world because it changes us. This is a principle that I like to live by, but I like writing these things down in my books. If you see my books that I normally read, I will scribble books that I read in person. Um, and like handheld books, I will scribble everywhere. I will take notes. I will write down thoughts and really interact with the book. And that is something that's really important to me. And it's really one of the main reasons why I've continued to also read physical books. But having this opportunity within Perlego is a game changer for me. And I love looking back at my old notes as well, just because um, my notes reminds me of inspirations that I've had in the moment. And yeah, that is really how I use Perlego. I'm really, really happy about this tool and I keep using it. Maybe I'll show you just quickly what I'm doing when I am reading. Let's go into the creative act. Now, when I'm in the book itself, I always keep this function on because all of our attention spans are slow these days. And it's helping me also read easier. I don't remember the name of this function, but really it's about making reading easier to consistently do over a long period of time. The fact that it's going from black to blue and back. So I use that, and then again highlight this. I really, the main things that I stick in is like the main areas that I'm sticking to is highlighting and adding notes. But I have found the citing passage quite useful as well when I'm working on um, school related things and university related things, which is good. And I can also just add a note if I need to come back to it later. I don't have to copy paste all like these different valuable quotes because I can really keep them in one space, my notebook, which is very nice because when I'm just Googling online and reading journals online, I will have to copy paste and cite back and all these things. But here I have everything I need in one. There's tons of functionality within here. I will say the dictionary as well has been very helpful for me just because English isn't my first language. Um, and especially when you're learning, when you're studying in another language, you do want a dictionary. So that's a very, very helpful tool too. Now, for the read aloud function, that is something that I have been using a little bit, especially when I'm walking around or, wanting to get a little bit of switching up in my workflow. So I use the read aloud function to be able to consume content while I'm doing other things. But while you're studying, as we all know, sometimes there's late nights. The combination of read aloud together with this is really helping me stay focused on the task at hand. And that's how I use Perlego. Enjoy using it. It really is a great tool and it really is making information accessible and easy to manage. And I love having it in my everyday life.